Welcome to Between the Poles, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of the pole community. I'm your host, Caroline. Here, it's not just about the tricks and the spins. It's about the stories, the people, and the connections that make this community so special. Every episode, we sit down with pole artists, studio owners, and inspiring voices to explore their journeys, challenges, and passions. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get real. This is Between the Poles. If you enjoy this podcast episode, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube, where we share behind-the-scenes contents, bonus clips, and more from each episode. Hi, Zoe. Welcome to Between the Poles. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm really pumped for this episode because for people that are listening and watching, I have been following you on Instagram. You go by Zoe and Arrow. For a couple of years, I want to say. I think I followed you the first year I started polling, and that's why I reached out to you. So, in a non-creepy way, I think I've been kind of looking at whatever you've been posting for almost 4 years, I want to say.
Goodness, thank you so much. Honestly, that means a lot, like a lot, a lot. I sometimes forget that I sometimes feel like I don't really have any influence on the world. And so when people say that to me, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've had like somewhat an influence on other people's pole journeys, and that's yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm so
people that maybe don't know you, don't follow you, I hope they get to know you a little bit better. And I hope you guys do follow Zoe and Arrow on Insta after this episode. Um, we'll get kind of to like your pole journey and all that, but I want to say like I follow you because I feel like your platform on Instagram is really kind of like fun, quirky, different. I also like that you post different combos and stuff like that. Like a lot of things that I just enjoy like trying, and I feel like you don't take yourself too seriously online.
definitely not.
I really enjoy because a lot of time on social media, right? People just kind of post the best version of everything. I like that you're a little more like honest and you're not afraid to have a good giggle. I also really like your aesthetic. Everything's really colorful and stuff. And in a world where I feel like right now the aesthetic is just like beige.
Yes, yes, color everywhere. No, to be fair, I'm glad that comes across because to be honest, going into social media never was intentional. That just happened by accident, but obviously we'll get to that eventually. But one thing that I always wanted to get across was I like perfection is lovely to see, but sometimes you actually want to see the imperfection from other people because it's more realistic. And I actually find when people post stuff that isn't perfect, I find that so much more inspiring than seeing the perfect stuff that I feel like I'll never achieve. So I'm really glad that comes across.
It does. And I remember when I was still like a beginner, I remember seeing some of your posts about like how painful certain moves were. And then I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. Because you see these like really crazy, amazing people post them like it's nothing, right? They like flow in and out of them and it looks so enjoyable. And I'm like, am I the only one who's thinking that my thighs are getting murdered on this move? And then you post funny reels. So I'm like, okay, no, it's not just me. Other people are feeling this too. So maybe I can just keep on going and I'll try different things and I'll come back to this. And I don't know, it just kind of made me and my pull at home a little more enjoyable.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, pole is painful, and I don't know if I have like a low pain threshold or something, but I I do not like the pain of pole very much at all. And I'm always
Either.
complaining about it. And my coach is always like, suck it up. I don't care. And I'm like, but it hurts. It hurts really bad. It obviously gets better over time, but for me, inside leg hang, oh my God. I hate inside leg hangs so much. And if I take too much time off of them, when I revisit them, it's horrible. It's horrific. And yeah, because I find them painful, I don't do them very often. So it's it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yep. Same. I'm not sure because it was a really like it was a couple of years ago, but I'm not sure if I saw you do that kind of reel or video about like the pain if it was an inside leg hang or Superman. But I remember vividly at the time struggling both with Superman and inside leg hangs and like the pain of them. And I remember just being like, okay, it is supposed to be painful. It is not enjoyable. I'm not the only one who's
It's
chickening out of
normal.
it because the pain on my skin does not feel well. But anywho, I digress. We're getting excited. I like to start this podcast kind of the same for everybody, just so my viewers and the listeners in here can kind of have a better idea. Can you tell us when did you start polling? How did you hear about pole at the very beginning? And then we'll kind of slowly go through your pole journey just to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, so I saw Bendy Kate on Got to Dance. I have no idea what year it was. I want to say 2010. And gosh, how old was I then? I would have been a year 10 at school. So I was like 15, maybe 16. And oh my goodness, I was like, that's amazing. I want to learn to do that. But then obviously I didn't because I was like, oh, I'm a bit scared. I can't really, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't know where to go. And second of all, I was like, because I was living at my parents, I was like, what would they say? What would they say if their 15, 6-year-old daughter was like, I want to do pole dancing? And so I didn't actually act upon it until I actually moved out of my house, so my parents' house in 2018. So 8 years on. And I suddenly went, I'm going to do pole dancing now because now I've moved out my house. I don't have to speak, I don't have to tell my parents anything anymore. So I went and I found this lovely little lady who did like one-to-ones in her house because where I live is kind of like middle of nowhere. So there wasn't really anywhere nearby-ish. But she was within my town, so it was amazing. And oh, I did one class and I was hooked. I was literally hooked. And I think I bought my own pole about 3 lessons in. It was really quick. And my dad actually helped me put the pole up in my house. So I said to my mum, I was like, Mum, so I've gotten into pole dancing and I want dad to help me put a pole up in my house. Can you tell him? Because I'm scared of what he'll say. In the end, I don't know why I was worried because he literally came in, he helped put it up, followed the instructions, and he literally had a go on it. And he found it hilarious. So it was very silly that I ever thought my parents would be like, oh, how could you? But yeah. So that's how it went. And then, yeah. So that was 2019. So yeah, like 2018, 2019. So where are we now? 2025, 6 years ish. Yeah.
Then how did you come about kind of where you're at now? Because from you, have you always just trained one-on-one and then in your house? Have you been to studios? Like where are you now kind of with that training and how did you get to the level you're at now?
So I outgrew that lady pretty quick, unfortunately. I loved learning there. But basically, when I felt, well, I think it was her that said, think you're at the most I can kind of teach you now. So I then moved on and I found a studio that was about 40 minutes from me. But because at this point I was hooked, I was like, I don't care if I have to travel 40 minutes, it's fine. So I went there and then that was my first time doing group classes, which was actually really scary. I would like to add, really scary going to your first group class. Even if you've done pole before, it's still scary. And I made so many friends. It was lovely. And I stayed there for, I want to say I was definitely there over COVID. So I was there for about 2 years, I think. Then I outgrew them. It's very sad. I outgrew both of the places that I loved, and then went to a different place, which was it was still about 40 minutes from me, but in a different direction. And I stayed there for a while. So that place was lovely, but they had stage poles. I didn't love learning on stage poles very much. But it was nice to have more height because in both the studios I'd learned at before and my own home, there wasn't a lot of height. So it was nice to have a bit more height, even if it was on the stage poles. But the gym floor is like a proper like gym floor. So the kind of floor where it doesn't matter how clean it is, it will make the bottoms of your feet black. And I didn't love that very much. And then basically Oh, this is gonna go on to a next question. But then basically one day my pole wife, who I had met through so basically Kat, I met her through a friend. So it's a friend's at the time girlfriend. And it turns out she just did pole too. So we then bonded because we're like, you do pole. I just started pole. Oh my goodness. She'd been doing pole for like way longer than me. So I was like, oh my God, look at all these amazing things you can do. I could never. And we bonded over that. Eventually she lived ages away and she moved to where I live. And we went, we should open up a pole studio because I've got business knowledge and like why not do it? There is nowhere near us, so like within the immediate vicinity, let's do it. And then we opened up Prism and that's where I train now.
101 questions, like I always do for every guest that tells me a little bit about the pole journey. One, you said that you outgrew kind of the two first place, that one-on-one lady and then the first studio. How did that happen? Is it because you had a fitness background in something and you just kind of picked it up really easy? Or are you just like training like a crazy person and at some point you're like, okay, I need more?
Both. So I had been resistance training at the gym for like I want to say 2 to 3 years before starting pole. So I was already relatively strong, which did mean that I progressed quite quickly at the start in some things. Spins, I was not very graceful. That took more time. But the strength-based stuff was a lot quicker. So this was a blessing and a curse all in one, I would like to add. It sounds very fun progressing quickly. It is not. It is not fun. I completely forgot what you asked. Then what did you ask? I'm so sorry.
That's kind of the answer because I was just wondering because some of us like start pole and we're not in any kind of like shape. So it takes a while. But if you were already quite strong, then I get what you mean. I also kind of get what you mean also because we have so many guests that are on the podcast that we're already really fit. So they kind of skyrocket. But then they're like, yeah, I kind of learn in a really fast paced, like right straight up, but they're like, I'm missing like moves on the horizontal side of the levels. And then you're in an advanced class and they're like, and here's just a quick, easy transition. And they're like, hold on, I've never seen this transition. I'm sure I can do it, but you're going to have to break it down for me because I've gone so fast up. I'm missing certain little things that if I had struggled through levels, I would have actually seen. Do you feel that that's also your experience?
100%. I mean, I joke. I did a reel on this at one point and joked about it, but it's true. A pirouette. I never learned a pirouette. And so for the longest time, an advanced polar couldn't do a pirouette. Like one of the first things you learn, I just completely skipped it. So, but I was training like a madwoman at the same time at home. So that didn't help. But yeah, essentially I was still going to the gym as well. And then also probably training at home like 3 times a week. So naturally, I guess you do, if you're going to do 1 class a week versus 3 classes a week, not class, obviously, when you train at home, but if you're training that many times a week, naturally you do progress faster. But I think at the beginning, I was way too obsessed about hitting that next trick and getting that next trick that I was skipping things. And I wish that someone would have told me, slow down, slow down. It's okay to take your time. It's not a race.
I get it. It wasn't my journey because I struggled. I struggled all the way. So I got to be at every level for a while. But then now that I also own a pole studio and I have people that come in and they're so strong, let's say they've done cheerleading or gymnastic at really high levels and now they start pole. I'm like, okay, you're already stronger than I am now. You know what I mean? Like, and you're so flexible. And then I'm like, take as many classes as you want, learn these things, and then they come to advanced really quickly. But I'm like, you're gonna have to go back to like intermediate and stuff just to learn like the basics of like this is how it works because you want to push pull and you want
Yes.
to have like this contact point and this transition should seem really nice because you're supposed to like go around and stuff, not just power through like everything. And I'm like, I guess there's pros and cons. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could just put my leg behind my head, like right off the bat. But at the same time, I'm like, because I can't, now I'm like, oh, and this is not actually a split, this is a cheat. And if you rotate on this side and stuff, so I see both sides of that middle for sure. I want to kind of get slowly to you owning a pole studio because I love talking about business on this podcast as well. Just because so many people in the pole world kind of want to start their own, either like studio or online presence or workshops or whatever, right? But before that, I want to kind of stick to your personal journey a little more because I know you also competed. Can you touch up a little bit on that? How did that come about? Love or hate of competition? How is competing like? And kind of all those details.
Gosh, so I don't even know how it came about because it's really funny because people at the studio I was at the time said to me, "You should compete one day." I was like, "Oh no, no, me compete never," because I had a bad experience when I missed a bit of my history, technically not pole history, but. Whereas as a child, I did majorettes. Most people would know it as baton twirling. And that was like my childhood. And I loved it. It was a lovely community and I was obsessed with that. Um, so basically, I've gone from twirling a stick to, or twirling a metal stick to twirling around one, basically. But yeah.
There you go.
So I competed once. So I competed a lot, but mainly in groups and duos and stuff like that. I did one solo in like the first year of majorettes, and I think I was 9. I didn't want to do a solo. I was pushed, and I I don't know if my brain has remembered this differently to how it went, but as I remember it, it went horrifically wrong and everyone laughed at me. And I vowed from that day, I will never do a solo ever again. I never did a majorette solo after that. And so many people encouraged me and I was like, nope, not happening. It's not happening. Then one day, honestly, I don't know how all of a sudden I was like, I want to compete in pole. I think I just saw other people do it on Instagram. I was like, that looks really fun. I was like, yeah, that means doing a solo. Oh. And then I was like, but actually, maybe that's a great opportunity for me to face like a fear almost, or to show the little girl inside of me that I can do a solo, like I can do it. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to need help. I can't do this on my own. So I basically looked on Instagram and saw like the coaches that other people were using, and I found Jade Benslem. And so I contacted Jade. She must have thought I was crazy. I'd never competed before. I was like, yeah, I'm going to I'd never even performed before. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to compete. And I have this idea and this is what I want to do. And basically we worked together to film a video entry. And this was like 2 years ago. And and I will say, if I watch back that video entry, is very different to me now, very different. It took me, so I didn't get through to any, so I think I ended 2 with that video, didn't get into either. Then I got an instructor qualification, so then I had to up my level. I had to then compete in instructor rather than in advanced. And I then filmed another video entry, same routine, just upgraded. Didn't get through with that one either, and then filmed another one. And I finally, so that was 6 competitions I didn't get into. And I was starting to be like, what's wrong with me? Oh my goodness. Like I took on the feedback every single time. Me and Jade were working so hard. And then basically one day, so I entered a competition on a whim because I didn't get into another one. I was sad. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to enter this one and just send my video. And it ends up that I got in. So I was like, oh my goodness, what on earth? So then, even though I've been competing for 2 years, I've only gotten through to the stage once so far. And annoyingly, I had no nerves like the week before. 2 weeks before I did, but then the week before I was fine. Even the day of, I was fine until, and this is what happens to me every time, I was literally about to go on like 2 minutes before, and the nerves hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt like I was gonna like cry so hard. I was like, no, I can't cry. I've got to go on. And luckily, I had a human prop, and my human prop, Danny, she was like, you're fine. You're fine. It's just going to be great. You're going to love it. Just breathe. And I go on, I do it. And admittedly, it was not my best run through. I made two mistakes in mistakes that I never had made before, which is the bit that annoys me the most. But that's just nerves for you. But despite those two mistakes, I loved every second. And I went into a bit of post-comp blues afterwards. And then I was like, for a second, I was like, maybe I shouldn't compete if it makes me feel like this. I was like, no, I loved it. I'm going to do it again. And I have entered some more already. So, yeah, sorry, very long-winded answer. But yes, even though to other people, it looks like I haven't been competing that long. I just have been competing in the background.
Okay, I have a question
Hmm.
because this is not how it works where I'm from. So I live in Canada, and then maybe I'm wrong. Comment in the comment section if I am wrong. But from what I know, most competition here, you don't submit a video. Like PSO
I
and stuff
think
like
that's
that, you
probably
just
right.
compete.
Yeah,
So
in the
where
UK,
are you in the world? In the UK, and how does it work?
it's pretty much most competitions are video entry. Like, I don't know what the percentage would be. I'd say like 95% at least. Um, in fact, I can't actually I can't think of anywhere it's not video entry. So yeah, it's quite normal for video entries here, basically. And then
And
so
how does it
usually
work?
it's,
They go through all the videos and then they just choose like the top dogs already, and then you only go on stage if you're the top dogs of the video
top
entries.
five normally, yeah. So basically, you still get feedback and everything. So, which the feedback is amazing because, I mean, gosh, how much my routine had upgraded from that first one was all down to the feedback I was getting. But it obviously sucks because like you've still, I mean, how I trained for the video entry wasn't far different to how I trained for the stage. It was still very much like intense training and getting that stamina up because stamina was always my issue. Um, and yeah, just hardcore training to try and get, obviously, yes, you have more opportunities to get a good video, but for me, it was still, if anything, I think it's almost harder because when you're training for a video, you don't have an audience. It's very hard to do all the character bits and have the adrenaline when it's literally just a camera and you. But yeah, so in the UK, it's pretty much all video entry.
And I have another question, which I find really, really interesting because you mentioned you hired a coach. What does that entail? What does a pole coach like? Is it a coach year round? Is it a coach just when like you're trying to compete? What services do a pole coach kind of give?
So when I started with Jade, it was pretty much just for the competition. And I was training weekly with her. Because she has like a platform, like a coaching platform called the Competition Guru. And what's quite nice about it is there's a tribe of people that are all being coached by Jade, and it's like a little family. It's really cute. Um, and I met so many people through that, which is one part of like what I'm always thankful for the competing journey that I've had is that I've made so many friends. It's really nice. But basically, so I think it was after the first video entry, and I waited for a bit, and I just went into the shadows, and I didn't train with Jade. Then when I didn't get through to cup, I was like, right, let's restart, let's do it again. I think between the second one and the third one, and definitely after the third one, I was enjoying training so much with Jade and learning so much that I was like, why am I stopping? Like, I might as well just continue having one-to-ones with Jade. So what I do when I'm not working on my routine is I end up training with Jade on a one-to-one online. So because we live like kind of 3 hours apart. And basically every Tuesday, like clockwork, I train with Jade, and so it might be that I send her some Instagram combos that I want to work on. And the way I learn is that I need someone to really talk me through it and break it down. Um, I don't know about other people, but I've never been a person that I can't really look at an Instagram combo and be able to do it. I can't, I just, it just is too much. And a lot of the time that would then make me think I'm a lower level than I am. And it was Jay that was like, no, you are the level that you, like, you are advanced. It's just that sometimes breaking down these advanced transitions from an Instagram video is really hard. You need someone to like talk you through it and show it to you in a slower motion and stuff like that, basically. So, yeah, I train with Jade every week now.
And then when you guys are training together for competition, what do you get out of it? Like, is a pole coach somebody who helps you like put your routine together or talk to you about like how it's going to go down on competition day? Like, what do you get out of it for competitions?
So for Jade, I know that she, for other people, just does whatever they need. So some people don't need choreography, some people just need like the accountability and or like the touch ups and stuff like that. For me, I need my hand held. I need my routine created for me. No, joking. So me and Jade, so Jade, it's basically Jade's choreography, but I have it's the combos and that are still, while they've been built by Jade, the tricks and that are all what I've chosen, if that makes sense. So, you know, if I really like a trick, I'm like, yeah, I want that in my routine. We just need to fit it in somewhere. And also so you get weekly check-ins. So you every week you'll send like a video of your training, and fill in a little form, say how you're feeling, little wins of the week, things you're working on, and challenges you've had the week. And yeah, basically, and even like on comp day, like she's, you know, messaging being like, make sure you're drinking water, have you eaten, do your box breathing, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, basically I'm the type of person that needs my hand held, basically. But yeah,
And then
it's wonderful. It would be a very lonely journey, and I think I would have given up, if I'm honest, especially 2 years of rejections. I would have given up and like, it's not for me. But having Jade there made like, she would make me realize, no, this is going to happen for you. Just at some point it will happen. We just have to wait. We just have to keep on working on it. So yeah.
that's really nice. And see, that's an aspect that I wasn't aware of. Like, I don't compete. It's not something that interests me. So then I'm really not aware of like all the background side. I love this podcast because I just ask everybody who will talk to me about it. Like, hey, how do you compete? How did you put your piece together? Like, and you brought up a coach, and I think that's just so fascinating, right? Okay, I want to go back. Like, I'm gonna give you whiplash because I do want to go back to you opening up a
Oh
studio.
yes.
Can you talk a little more about it? You had just no fear and you're just like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to open a studio. You said you had a little bit of a business background. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So when I was 20, I'd been working for a photography studio and I'd just done an apprenticeship with them, and I got made redundant. And I was like, oh my goodness, what on earth do I do? People around here don't really employ photographers. Like, you're normally just self-employed. And it was my parents were like, you've got all the knowledge, like you were helping run the studio, like you know what you're doing. Don't be silly. And so I opened up a photography studio. And so I mean, there were things I did at the start that I'm like, why did I think that would work? So basically I mean, my photography studio is 10 years old this year. So over the last 10 years, I've learned a lot about business, especially going into it with that very limited knowledge and being very young. Um, and so essentially going through that, okay, so opening a pole studio is not the same as opening up a photography studio, but business owning is not far different. It's still the same. The framework is the same. Does that make sense? So
It
yeah, it
does.
was still like, don't get me wrong, we're still scared. And doing it with my best friend was also very helpful because it was far less scary. And there were moments just before we kind of like, you know, properly went official with it, that we like, you know, Kat said to me, this is really scary. Like, I'm actually a bit scared. And I was like, yeah, but remember, and this is one of my favorite quotes, is that all the best things come from outside your comfort zone. So sometimes you have to kind of go through that really uncomfortable, scary feeling to get to the good stuff. So even though it was I mean, way more outlay than a photography studio, I thought it'd be similar, but I was so wrong. So wrong. I knew that at the end of the day, there was an opening in the area, and I knew what we want. We knew what we wanted. We wanted to build a community, and we wanted to open up this space that was inclusive for everybody and to create this happy space for people. Basically, what we had experienced ourselves is to have that happy space that you can go to. If you've had a long day at work and you're like, oh, I need to blow off some steam, you can go to that happy space and, you know, just
Yeah.
leave it all at the door.
Yeah. I'm happy because I had kind of the same feeling too. So I studied business. I'm finishing up my business master's right now. And then when I started thinking about opening a studio, I also have a best friend who pulls, and then she really just helped me out. And I remember that date that I was like, okay, I'm gonna announce it on social media, like, hey, we're opening up like a pole studio. I was like, Jen, I'm really nervous. Are
Terrifying.
you sure? And then yeah, I tell people like all the time when they ask, like, you don't have to know everything. But like as long as you know like a general like how a business is gonna work, like kind of a couple of steps that then you'll just like as long as you know what the next step is, right? You don't need to like know the whole road, just know what the next step is and you're gonna slowly go there. I will say this for anybody listening, because a pole studio is like a little monster of its own. It's so like niche and there's so like many moving pieces. I truly underestimated the amount of time it would take to clean the studio, do all the
Oh my
admin
goodness,
work.
yeah.
Like, oh my God. I it's just because, yeah, I don't know why. I just really, really underestimated like how long it would take to schedule all the teachers and just run all the emails and the platform, like the websites and stuff like it's just a lot of admin work. And I feel a lot of people that don't own a pole studio just think that you just kind of show up, teach your class, leave, and call it a day. And I'm like, actually, no. There's so much more that goes into it that yeah, I wish I had known. It wouldn't change the fact that I love owning a pole studio and I would do it any day. I just would have liked to know, maybe. So
A
I
bit of
hope everybody
hindsight would have been
listening,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, write down in your notebook. Like I will do a lot of admin work, and there's always more admin work. People have questions, students need things answered. There's laundry to be done. There's
Oh,
just everything.
the
Just
pole cloth
everything.
laundry. Oh, it never ends.
Uh-huh. And I keep buying more like cloths, thinking that
Yeah.
longer, and somehow they don't. So somehow I'm still just like schlepping just laundry in and out of the studio every week. And I'm like, how have we run out? I've bought more and more and more, and I'm still running out. How is this possible? I don't know. It is a pole mystery. All right. I kind of want to touch up a little bit on you having your own business prior to having the studio. So, do you still own your photography business? And then, if so, have you kind of made a link between polling and owning a photo studio?
Well, to be fair, so what made Prism possible, so Prism being our pole studio, is so my business brain was like, okay, well, the best way to be successful in business is low overheads. Like that's a key thing. So I was like, how can we keep our overheads low? And I was like, well, if we can find a space big enough that can house both, then the photography studio can share the same space as the pole studio because they work different hours anyway.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so basically we found a space with lovely high ceilings, lovely high ceilings, that basically could do both. And so Prism and my photography studio are in the same building, which works actually way better than I ever expected it would. So that really helped. And so eventually, I mean, when I started my pole journey and I got into pole, I did think, oh, how amazing would it be to photograph polers? Like, oh, that'd be awesome. So I bought a stage pole on finance, specifically for this purpose. set it up in my pole studio, not my pole studio, my photography studio at the time, realized my photography studio was not big enough. It was not, but it wasn't wide enough because you forget that with pole, like if you do something like, say, an extended butterfly, like it's all on one side of the pole. And so there wasn't enough room for my lights. So I had to kind of put that idea on pause anyway. And so I just didn't do anything about it. I mean, COVID hit and then I just lost all my creativity when it came to that. I was like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore. Then when I opened up Prism, I then realized I have a space now that already has the poles in place. So literally, as if I line up the backdrops, I literally have the perfect space for it. But then I realized how scared I was because photographing pole dancers is very different to photographing babies and families. I mean,
Oh,
for a start, babies don't go upside down, and they don't have to like hold a position for like 3 seconds. They can just sit there and look cute. So I had to, it was very much a learning curve in practicing with my lights and learning to get the lights in the right places. Even though I have extensive lighting knowledge, it was very different to what I'd ever done before. Um, and so I spent a little bit of time practicing on like the instructors and like cat and stuff like that. And then I was like, I think I'm at a point now where I could probably start photographing people. And funny enough, I asked Jade, I was like, hey Jade, can I photograph you for free? You get some free photos. And she was like, yeah, sure. And so she came and she also was like, can you also come and I want to do a shoot day with you at our studio. So I want to book you for that. And I was like, oh gosh, I wasn't even planning to do like on location shoots. So that was a bit, well, very much out my comfort zone. But then I told myself all the good things come from outside the comfort zone. And I did it and it all worked out well. So I am doing aerial, like pole and aerial shoots now. Aerial hoop was another thing I had to learn because, oh my goodness, photographing aerial hoop is also very different to photographing pole. Um, so yeah, essentially I have linked all my loves together now.
if any of our viewers or listeners would want to support you on either your studio, well, both your studios, basically they're both studios, how can they find your photo studio and where is your pole studio?
So it's in Ipswich, Suffolk, in the UK. And so there is a website. So the photography studio is very creatively named. I joke. It's called Zoe Gibbs Photography because Zoe Gibbs was my maiden name. Obviously, when I opened up my studio, it was my name. So very creative. And on my website, it all links together. But I do have separate Instagrams for like the pole and aerial stuff because I feel like people who are having babies don't really care about seeing people on a pole. So, but it is all linked together. So through my Instagram, you can find the other Instagrams if that makes sense. But yeah, if you're looking for it on Instagram, it's zgp.aerial. It's very easy to find.
It kind of brings me to the next question because at the beginning of this episode, I kind of said like, oh, I've been following you for a while. You have quite a large following on social media. You're very active on there. And I love always asking people, how did that start for you? When did you start really kind of putting in time with social media? How much time are you putting in right now in your social media? I think I had a look this morning when I woke up. You have, I think, over 10,000 followers on there. Quite active, beautiful reels. Like how you put things together is really nice. Like your editing's really nice. Can you tell us a little bit about when you started on Instagram and all that?
It was all by accident. I never went out to be a content creator. Um, so it was on TikTok at first. Middle of lockdown, I was bored because obviously you can't really do photography in lockdown. So I basically spent months unemployed. And so I saw that Lil Nas X, I don't know if I've pronounced that right, did a challenge, like a pole dance challenge called Pole Dance to Hell. And I was like, "Oh, I've got time." So I just put a video on TikTok and that received so much hate. Like, as in, it received love as well, but it reached a part of TikTok where people were not happy to see someone on a pole. And the hate I received was, oh my goodness, next level. I thought it was hilarious, if I'm honest. Like I thought, wow, really, people really have no time on their hands. They just sitting there and just keyboard warrioring. Um, and one of the comments was, I think it was, put some clothes on, just simply put some clothes on. I was like, oh, original. So I decided to respond with me attempting. I do not. I mean, do not try this at home, kids. I attempted to pole in a shark onesie. It was my husband's shark onesie. I don't know why I picked the shark onesie. I just thought it's clothes, so I put it on and I attempted to do the exact combo that I did in the video with the onesie on. And basically said at the end, like, I'll do what I want. Thank you. If I choose to wear no clothes, that's on me. Anyway, and that went viral, like quite viral. And it just ballooned from there. I was on my at the time my profile name thingy, the tag was my gamer tag. So I had to change that to my Instagram tag because I was like, okay, now this has gotten weird. Like I didn't expect to blow up on TikTok. At the time, Instagram was just being used as my pole diary, like my journey, just posting what I'd achieved and stuff like that. Over time, I just started making silly videos on TikTok and yeah, basically got the attention of Christy Sellers, who then basically asked me if I wanted to try some of her EnviroCo brand clothing and EnviroGrip and stuff, which I tried and I loved it. And then eventually she asked me to start doing regular reels for EnviroCo and EnviroGrip. So I then started posting on Instagram and posting these cringy, silly reels on Instagram, which at the time, Instagram was still very perfect. So it felt very wrong to be posting silly stuff on Instagram. And yeah, it basically went from there. I was on like kind of like a lot lower. I mean, my TikTok now is on, I think, 140K or something like that. But I don't post on TikTok anymore because I realized the audience I have on there is not the audience I care about. That audience is it's just basically it's a lot of hate and stuff like that. And also TikTok hated me every time I posted a reel, I would get banned. So I was like, oh, couldn't be bothered. Um, and Instagram is the people I care about. It's the pole community. That's what I do it for. I don't do it for the random people around the world. I do it for the pole community. So I just eventually stopped posting on TikTok because I'm very much prone to creative burnout. So, but now I just post on Instagram. And I think I posted one time at Kat's wedding, we all went on a stage pole, very similar to what we did at my wedding. And that went mega viral. That's now been my most viral video. I think it reached, I want to say like 8 mil or something like that. It was crazy. That also received a lot of hate. Oh my goodness, even worse
How
than ever
do
before.
how do
Um,
you deal with all the hate though?
I think the thing you have to remember is that these people really have no life. As in, they are, if they think that it's okay to be going on in the internet and leaving these horrible messages for real life existing people, what on earth are they doing with their life? Like, really, how does anyone have that much time to be like hateful? It baffles me. So that's what I try and remind myself is sometimes, like, there's been times I've been like, wow, that's just mean. But then I do remind myself these are just random people who do not know me, and they are clearly just not nice people because nice people don't do that. And I don't care about people who aren't nice. They can go
I
fuck
have
themselves.
to admit, it is something that kind of stresses me out a little bit. I don't do well with like negative comments. And then so far, knock on wood, so far, I have not received any hate on this podcast because some of the reels I put out there on Instagram have a couple thousand views and stuff like that. But I feel because one, it's on Instagram, people that follow us are from the pole community. So they follow us because they enjoy seeing the guests, seeing like learning about people they follow a little more. And then on Spotify, I don't really get any hate either. Because if you're on the podcast listening to people talk about pole, I feel like you're committed to pole. You know what I mean? So far, I haven't gotten any like craziness. And TikTok for the podcast is so like minute because I post the reels I post on Instagram, I post on TikTok just if it would reach people, great. But nothing has blown up, nothing has gone crazy. But I think you're right. I think how the algorithm pushes on TikTok, it would probably end up showing to just anybody. They'd be like, why am I seeing a poll video? And
Yeah.
also, like, it's a podcast. Some people watch this on YouTube, but most listeners are on Spotify. I show up for these interviews sometime looking a little rough. I have two young kids. I own a business. I'm still in school. Sometimes I'm really tired. And then lately I've been thinking on it because I'm like, what if at some point this podcast actually goes some places and then I watch these reels of me just looking beat up. Just like tired. And I feel so bad for you that you had like viral videos just receive so much hate.
I
And I
think
agree with you. It's people have so much time to go on their keyboard and just write like, could you have not done anything else with your life? Why are you
exactly.
taking two
Just
minutes out
scroll
of
if you don't like it, man. Like, why do you have to leave a comment? But also, the other thing to remember as well, if people leave these comments, normally, so obviously, more comments, more engagement. So a lot of the time, the hate actually fuels like the fire in terms of it makes things more viral. And so a lot of the time with hate comments comes a lot of good comments. And I think that sometimes people don't say nice things. Um, Automatically. Obviously, we do a lot of the time, but I think sometimes people just, be, oh, I like that, and then not say anything. But if people have put horrible things on, people are more likely to be extra nice. So with nasty comments comes more nice comments normally. So I feel like a lot of the time it levels out. I've had any hate comments for ages. It's been very blissful, a very peaceful life for me right now. But it will come back one day. There's going to be some random person who's going to be, I don't know, triggered by what I put on the internet or the fact that my butt cheeks are up. How could I?
how dare you? You know something that I learned on this podcast actually, and I'm sure you would agree, because I'm not an influencer, I don't have a big platform or whatever. I never really thought of this, but a lot of the time I'll see a post that I really enjoy and I'm like, oh, I'll watch all of it. I'm like, oh, that's so fun. And then I'll just scroll. And now I'm like, hell no, like, and I've started commenting more as well because I know, just like you said, another guest on here had said it, just like it. If you liked it because it pushes it to some people that are like me, like the same people I follow or the same hashtags or stuff like that. And oh my God, I was so bad for this. I would watch somebody do like a fun combo, I would save it and not like it. And now I'm like, I
I
would
have
never
been guilty of that as well.
I save.
I have been guilty of that as well. And actually, I noticed it this morning because it's only been recently that I've started posting more poll videos again. Because for example, when I am training for competitions, I don't typically train other things because I just preserve my energy. And I noticed today, I was looking at the insights and like one of my videos had like 70 saves, but like it was like 100 likes, but then no comments. And it's only gotten like 2,000 views. And I was like, 70 saves, 70 saves. What on earth? So it makes you realize, no, like it is a thing. I, and while I agree and disagree when people say that, oh, people should always comment when you save things and stuff like that, I agree. But I can see it from both sides because saving it in itself does push it to the algorithm. But obviously, commenting as well would also push it to the algorithm even more. But sometimes I'm actually quite introverted and also quite shy, like very shy, which a lot of people don't believe. I am actually a really shy person. So a lot of the time I overthink it and I'm like, I don't really know what to say in the comment. Like, I know I could just say saved. But like, I'm just like, I don't know what to say. So a lot of the time now I just like it and save it. And it's terrible. I really should comment, but I just get scared. I don't know why.
Hey, I I will at least like it. I used to not like it. I used to just save it. And now I'm like, I will not do that. If I've saved it, you can know that I've liked it. Same. I also try to comment, which is also so weird because if it's any like student at the studio or other instructors or stuff, we all comment on each other's thing. We're always like, stunning, slay. But
Yeah. Yes, queen.
and then somebody like posts something crazy awesome, and I'm like, save. Why will I not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, like I feel most people in the pole community are just so positive and everybody's kind of like your biggest cheerleader. Everybody just wants to like celebrate you and like keep seeing you just show up for yourself. So I know what you mean. I should also, but sometimes like there are people I really admire and I'm like, I can't just write slay.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. I just that it seems weird for me to say. I don't know what to say when it's not someone I'm not like. If I'm close to that person, I can write whatever. It's fine. But if
Mhm.
I'm not close to that person, I'm like, I don't know what to say. What do they? Are they going to think I'm weird if I say yes or like, I don't know. So yeah, I just overthink it massively. I'm a chronic overthinker, but yeah.
I'm right there with you, which I find hilarious because we're both on this podcast doing fine. Because I say that to people too. I'm like, I'm really shy. And they're like, how you teach classes in front of a bunch of people all the time and now you have a podcast. But I'm like, it feels so different when it's linked to pole. I'm teaching people I don't know pole. I'm telling them about this pole move. I'm on the podcast asking people like, how did you start pole? I love pole. You love pole. Let's be friends. Like, I don't really have to like do anything like say anything super interesting or whatever. I would die if I had to like public speak in front of like a classroom or something like that is not pole related.
It's an alter ego, isn't it? Or at least it is for me. Zoe and Arrow is my alter ego. Like Zoe is very different to Zoe and Arrow. Like I am the same person, obviously, but one is way more shy than the other.
I get that. I say this to my husband all the time, by the way. I'm like, everybody at the studio thinks I'm hilarious. And he's like, do they? Are you? I'm like, I am. When I'm at the studio, I have no issues. I have no problem. I get to the studio really grumpy, and then I'll start teaching or I'll start polling for myself. I'm in class. I just like everybody's just chatting. I'm like, I'm a great time when I'm at the studio. I
The same
prefer.
thing. I have the same thing. No, my husband's like, so my husband's very witty and very funny. And I say this, I'm like, I got compliments today. Someone said I'm really funny. And Ben's like, really? You funny? I'm like, yeah, apparently I'm hilarious.
Magnus, and he's so like funny and laid back, and like in our relationship, he's the funny laid back one. And when I'm at home, right, I'm like, I have young kids to take care of. I'm going to school. He has like weird shifts that we have to deal with. Anyways, I'm like the household secretary. I have all these things to do. I'm not as fun. But I'm at Paul. We're all giggling. We're all like trying to film like just hilarious reels in the background. I feel like in the studio here, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of the same in other people's studio. It's just who can crack the funniest joke, right? And then we're all giggling as we're trying these crazy things. And I also tell this to students, but like the higher level you get to in the studio, the craziness you'll hear is just
Yeah.
mind.
There is nothing I love more than hearing like it sounds like a football stadium when someone gets a trick. There is honestly nothing I love more than hearing the studio roar with cheers and encouragement and yeah, that's why I do this. Like that's why I have a studio. That's why I am still in the pole community because that in itself, oh, I love that so much.
I agree. And I really get pumped on the feeling too when I teach somebody. And you know, when they like struggle with a move and you've been working on it with them for like months and months, and then they finally like get that handspring that they've been so like, and then they get out of it and they're so excited. They're like, let me hug you. And then you're like, yes. And like, oh, I get just so pumped on that energy. And
Yes,
then I get
yes,
home and I'm like,
exactly.
talk to me. I just want to sit in the dark
Yeah,
for. an hour.
Yes, I need to sit here and not speak for the next 3 hours. I need to just sit in this corner and rock. Too
Okay,
much people time.
I am not going to keep you on here forever. So I want to move on to the last segment, which we call the last grip. These are like easy, quick, just fun questions to finish the podcast off. Are you ready for the last grip?
Let's go.
All right. These are very serious, by the way. You could get canceled for answering these. Coffee or tea?
Neither. I literally don't like coffee or tea.
Canceled. Done.
No, if I have to have a hot drink, it's a hot chocolate normally.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song to dance to right now?
Ooh, I mean, my music taste is very obscure. I'm a drum and bass girl, so my answer is this: no one will know the answer. No one really know what the song is. However, I did think about this earlier because I was like, what on earth am I going to answer to this question? The song that I keep putting on at the moment, just as like a feel good song when I'm in the studio, is "I Only Smoke When I Drink" by Nimino. I think it's Nimino, I think.
Yeah, so I will go and listen to it after this podcast. What is your most loved pole outfit or pole accessory?
Well, this is hard. This is a really hard question. I think it's gotta be my turquoisey 8-inch pleaser heels that used to match my hair color. Or the shoe. I have shoe charms. I have like these cute little charms that go on them. Oh, this lovely lady called Precious makes them. They're called Precious charms. Oh my gosh, I literally have them on all my heels. They Yeah, those little charms. So that's my answer. The little charms
Oh,
that go on the heels.
yeah. Can you, where am I? Okay, heels or barefoot?
It's going to be surprising considering my answer to the last question. Barefoot.
All right, you're allowed. Can you give us one word to describe your relationship with pole?
Transformative.
Static,
Static.
choreo or trick?
Tricks.
Yes, or evening practice.
Ooh, I mean, it's definitely not morning because I am not a morning person. I'm actually more of an afternoon person, but if I had to pick between morning and evening, it'd be evening.
Fair enough. Love or hate of conditioning?
Oh, do you know what? If you would have asked me this a year ago, I'd been like, oh, hate. But I've been doing conditioning recently quite a bit, and I've seen that it makes a difference. I can feel the difference. So I'm actually going to shock everyone when I say love.
Can you tell us two or three people that you really enjoy following on social media or people that we should be made aware of?
You should definitely follow my coach, Jade Bensalem. Oh gosh, then other people. I'm gonna say the people that I seem to save the most. So that would be Vanessa Bagg and probably Jess Dove.
Love that. Can you tell us your nemesis move or your nemesis family of move?
It's got to be anything foot grip. I have this. This is really TMI. I have the sweatiest feet, so anything where I have to grip the pole with the sole of my foot, Cupids, Reiko. Oh gosh, yeah. I have to like sit and really grip up my feet. So it's got to be anything foot grip for
See,
sure.
I hate those too. I just hate them. No one asks me because I always ask these questions to people. No one ever asks. I hate foot grip. I don't want to do foot grip. I just hate them.
It's the
And
worst.
finishing on a positive note, what is your favorite move or your favorite family of moves?
Oh, okay. Mm, I'm gonna say. Okay, I've got two. I can't pick between two. So one's got to be Broken Dragon or like recliner grip family, like the one where your hands, like your arms behind your back, or laybacks and layback family. I know I'm an absolute psychopath.
I think no one has ever answered either of those.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have a lot of Iron X people. We have a lot of Jade Splits and stuff like that. Those are two that haven't been said yet. So good for you for being original. And then the last question is for any people listening or watching us today, how can we support you? Where can we find you? All that good stuff.
Okay, so it's zoe.and.arrow on Instagram. And also Prism our pole studio is Prism, as in PRISM, Aerial Arts, all one word. Um, and our studio is based in Ipswich. So come take a class.
Well, thank you so much, Zoe, for being on today. It was such a lovely chat, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. I will put Zoe's info in the caption, as always, so you can give her a massive follow on Instagram and have a look at everything else. Please like her posts, not just save them.
Yeah, or else.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Between the Poles. If you love this episode, be sure to hit follow and leave us a review. It helps more pole lovers find the show. And for exclusive bonus content, behind the scene footage, and extra pole goodness, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and keep spinning your story. This was Between the Poles.